All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, just 3 more days here to take advantage of the site-wide sale. Best time to do it. We're going to have a lot of action, and we already get that kicked off here today. Let's get into it. AMD absolutely rugged. So 4% pump all day long. Just a straight up, like pretty much like a Maribozu candle outside of the last 5-10 minutes there. You can see the SMH, same thing. This was just a freight train all day long. Little dip there into the final closing minutes here. But AMD after hours, again, quick pump and then a big reversal here all the way down to 155. So really good rug there and a fake out on AMD. However, we got Google so far holding the gains here. So that's about 5-6 points after hours, and Google kind of saving the day there for the NQ. Is if that was flat to lower, NQ would be taking a little bit of a hit here. But right now, kind of just flat in the after hours. And you see ES here as well. Basically flat to positive. So pretty good price action here, though. We had a gap down, and by the way, very good picking the lows off this morning in the trading room. Entry at 58.39. We still have runners on this too, but very nice rally here into the end of the day, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, 8:15 tomorrow, ADP. So that's going to be big. We had jolts this morning, and bonds got a bid, but then they faded, and they came all the way back down to test the lows. This is the ZB, so 30-year. Basically retesting the low. However, it came back up pretty nicely. So we may have a little short-term local low in place here. I got this white trend line on there for like the longest time. And probably not a coincidence that that's where we went. So bonds here getting a little bit of a bid. And if we look at the 2-year, that kind of needed that because that was rallying really in the morning. And jolts, and then we came back up and then faded back down. I guess now they're pricing in 25 basis points in cuts. If this level holds and we go higher, I don't see how that's possible. There's going to be like a massive jawboning effect that's going to need to take place in order for that to happen. But right now, maybe a local high here in bonds, and if, they're going to need that if they're going to talk about cutting here. That said, tomorrow ADP, that will move the market. That could go right back down, and we'll be watching for a news failure too. If we get a soft number and bonds continue to pump, that's a news failure. Or excuse me, if we get a hot number and bonds continue to pump, that's a news failure. Why we likely won't get a hot number? Hurricane Ian strikes last month, or this past month. That's gonna weigh in, and I said that this morning on Twitter, saying, look at the market's looking at this, you got the initial algo move and then yields kind of pumped back up even though the jobs number was softer. We got to factor those things into the jobs reports for later this week. And we got 3 of them in a row, ADP, then jobless claims, and then obviously non-farm payroll on Friday. We'll see. Are they going to pump non-farm payroll again like they did the previous month? I can't see why they wouldn't. And if that does, come in hot, do bonds actually sell off, or, are we max short here bonds? That's a possibility in the short term. There's definitely a possibility in the short term, especially specifically on the short end, right? 30-year still has kind of a bull inside bar here. This could easily pull back and just do one of these and then go higher, right? That's still inside. But the 2s, and really you can kind of see it visually on the 10s. Look at how much more stretched it is. Kind of like in the middle of the curve, really. It's like 5s and 10s are more stretched than 2s and 30s even. But either way, that's something to keep in mind. Tomorrow, Meta and Microsoft will tell the story. If we look at the S&P here, I joked about it. Which way, Western Algo, right? You got to pick. So we're going to have to pick a direction here. And we are running out of space, right? There's not a lot of space left on this, in this wedge here. So the top side, we rejected. Bottom side here, that's been going on since August. There's just not a lot of space left. So I think one of these earnings or jobs will blow us out of this range. It's just a matter of when. But we are really tight in that last 10 minutes too. I mean, we came right back in, and let me get rid of this after hour stuff there. Yeah, so actually if I adjust that, you can see we actually got outside. So I'm glad I just changed that because I thought something looked a little weird. So we did get outside of that range and we closed basically right back on it by the end of the day. But either way, Microsoft, Meta, Jobs in one way or another, or Apple, Amazon Thursday, I think will blow us out of this range. So again, upside 59 plus, and then downside, we don't want to see below 58. That would actually bring us to, I think we could sell the 56.90, 56.75 pretty quickly if that were to happen, assuming we can follow through. But this market is like a beach ball underwater, right? I've been talking about that, quite a bit lately. It's clear and obvious that there's just tons of hedges here. All these volatility events, the election, FOMC, jobs, earnings. If you're a fund manager, this is not sneaking out. We knew about this stuff. You could pick these dates out, a year ago, right? You had these circled on your calendar like a long time ago. You're going to go into this with downside hedges, right? So when we get news about Israel bombing, Iran doing all these other things, and then we get jobs data that's not good, and we get yields literally just melting up and just scorching higher, and gold at all-time highs, and the dollar rallying and everything else, what do you get? A one candle dip and then a V shape. So it's hard for this market to go down right now. It'll be interesting to see how it trades after the election, especially with it just kind of, if we start pumping. But right now, QQQ 500 still a little bit of a wall, gamma wall. And obviously we have the double top there. So those are the levels we're watching. And again, downside is your trend line right here, coinciding with the 20 DMA essentially. IWM down 72 cents, but no problems. I like to look at the RTY as well. Up move, inside hammer. Love the ascending wedge there. Diamond down $1.50. This is still soft. So it had a nice bounce yesterday, but back below, it's back below that previous resistance. That's the only index that's doing that really. So Diamond is a little weak here. That's not terrible, right? As long as the Nasdaq's leading, I don't care what the Dow does. The Dow is not that important. It's blue chip stocks, and it's not as indicative of risk. If the Dow is leading, it's more of a negative signal than if it's lagging. Speaking of, we have Caterpillar tomorrow morning, which basically is the Dow in many ways. So we'll see how that goes. SMH up 2 1/4. Down in the after hours now. Let's just look at the SOX here. Yeah, down 4 points in the after hours. AMD makes up a big portion of these. IGV at 1.6. New all-time high, new all-time closing high. You guys know I've been talking about rotation into cloud software. Stop chasing those stupid semiconductors. This is what you wanted. Dow Transport's here up 11 basis points. I still continue to really like this big picture pattern. Marijuana stocks, just before we forget, much weaker on MSOS. So good pump. I like that you just went sideways here, but then a good rejection back below that trend line. What's interesting is that Canada is holding up better. It's like when it comes to this volatility event next week, it's a Florida vote, right? It's not like somebody has inside info. It's a vote, right? So it's interesting. Are they trying to shake people out? It's possible. But face value, you've got technical damage here. So these names are much weaker. But, Canada side actually was okay today. Tilray, flat. CGC, down 15 cents. That's nothing for that stock. SNDL was green. ACB, down 5 cents. Still has an inside bar. It was really just the American side. TCNNF, that's a pretty stiff rollover. So these names were definitely weak today. We'll see if it ends up just being a shakeout. A lot of people trying to front run. So, okay. We talked about rates. Homebuilders here, down 2%. Came off the lows nicely. DR Horton. I was looking for 150. I had a good level there at 150. It just didn't get there this morning. But look at that big bid off the lows here. Still down 7 1/4 on the day. couldn't just go $2 lower, could you? Man, what a move there off of the lows. And you can see XHB, obviously. We talked about this. I said 111, got to 112. Right, good volume there, so good defense. Weekly chart, still holding the weekly 20 MA, but I just don't like that failed breakout here. So I'd want to see us back below, or excuse me, back above 120, especially by a weekly close. VNQ down 70 cents. Again, lower highs, lower lows continuing. Not in the worst shape. Again, the weekly pattern is still pretty okay. But daily is a little choppy. XLF was down. Still inside of the red, but still above all moving averages. Nothing really terrible. JPM continues to just coil. Morgan Stanley kind of consolidating that big breakout. Goldman looks okay, so XLF holding up all right. KRE, again, was down today, but just an inside day. So banks here, don't really see anything terrible. Broker dealers, new all-time highs, of course. That's very stretched now, but basically has been stretched for a long time. Oil here, basically, was it flat on the COM, or yeah, it looks like positive on the COMEX, but red on the futures. Again, 67. So that's where it went here, and it's holding. Starting to see some signs here that do have one of my algos that I follow is actually saying that could be a, it's not to say that it's a buy, but it's essentially saying that momentum on the sell side is exhausting, which is interesting because we just gapped down the other day. I'm very interested in energy here. I think energy here is I think this is a big liquidity grab in the election. If they're holding it down, I mean, they're doing an okay job, but you still have higher lows here. And that's ahead of a general election, too. I mean, look at gasoline. Like, this is still, you know, you're just kind of like into this trend line here. We'll see if that ends up getting bid here. XLE, again, earnings starts the end of the week. I think Exxon, Chevron, these, you know, personally, the more they're down, there's Conoco, the more these things are down into earnings, cheaper they're going to be. And I don't see any damage here on XLE, honestly, specifically on the bigger time frames, which is what I'm interested in more. I know this is a messy chart, but it just looks like a big bull inside bar to me. XOM, same kind of thing. XOP, again, same thing here. Possible higher lows, a little weak today, and then OIH still inside of that falling wedge. By the way, OIH did not take out yesterday's low, and it's still above Thursday's low on a closing basis too. So that's showing a little bit of relative strength here lately. Uranium, CCJ inside day, URNM inside day, NJ a little bit weaker. But we had names like Alclo and SMR. These are sector leaders right now. They're still seeing money flow. So I don't see any issues here. Continuous nat gas, up 1%. Z contract now, again right there. $3 is resistance. Then after that, 310. You get above that, this could start to rally up. Obviously, your local low there, or your all-time low, literally is 270. So that's our new range there on nat gas. Dollar index managed to scratch out, yeah, basically a slight positive here. It's a negative after COMEX, but it's basically a flat day. If this consolidates, it will no longer be overbought, but it needs to do a lot more of that. So even though yield's kind of coming back in, dollar's still kind of flattish. So we'll see how that relationship works out. Gold, new all-time. I think this is just going to pump into FOMC. And then no matter what happens, it probably gets like some type of a near-term blow-off. I think this can go to 28.50. Silver, up 1.84. Still no new highs, but it's working on a higher low here. So a couple of, you know, you can see the tails here. Buyers coming in a little bit. But still no new highs. By the way, GDX has not made new highs, and neither has, SIL has. Let's see, SILJ has not, and GDXJ has not. Platinum closing above the trend line, but still, you know, kind of into some pivots. There is some resistance here. Palladium, told you guys about 1250. Finally a red day there. You know, just right into those pivots. So maybe a local high. Maybe even a little bit more, you know, might need to do some backing and filling. Might need to digest this move. It's had a nice one. Copper's still in a range, and this has probably got maybe 2 or 3 more days at most, I think, before it's going to expand. I don't know which way. So I'm not sure about that, but it's not going to stay in that range much longer. And then everybody's favorite bear distribution pattern. Oh, wait, that's right. It's not. It never was. Yeah, Bitcoin here at all-time highs. So we're knocking on the door. And yeah, what else can you say? Next level is right up here around 75. I think there's another level at 78 that I have calculated. That's just short term. I think this will get up to about 94 ultimately. There's certain levels that it has to get through, mathematical levels that it has to get through to get there, but that's kind of where I'm expecting this to go. Very nice job here for Bitcoin, though. Been talking about this pattern for a long time. I mean, there's not, you know, everybody kept telling me this distribution. What part of a, I mean, do you guys know what a bull flag is? And this is as textbook as it gets. So even back here, back all the way back in March, I said, look, if this 20 MA catches up to price and this is sideways to down, buy it. It just really baffles me that this wasn't like an obvious bull flag. But I'll take it, though, because the opposition means that it, you know, probably why it worked out. So anyways, let's take a look here at AMD. Yeah, settling at 155, so definitely soft. We'll see where it opens tomorrow. Google's holding on the gains right now. Let's look at everybody's favorite. Oh, Snapchat. Congrats to Snapchat. It didn't sell on earnings for once. That's unbelievable. That's how you know things are really bullish here. So 1150. I think I was talking about that in the trading room. 1150 or 12 being near-term GEX there. Let me just see. Who else we got here? Anybody important? Chipotle. Yeah, I know Visa's down. I know Visa popping back up. And then Chipotle. Wow, Chipotle not bidding up on earnings. That's incredible. That's a first. Wow. Guess they're losing it. See, McDonald's I know was down a little bit as well. So restaurants down a little bit, but anyways, I'll spare you guys that talk. All right. Anyway, markets here again. Yeah, I got to adjust this. There we go. So we did get above that trend line. You know, if we're back in it tomorrow, I don't think we're going to stay in this range too much longer. 59 is short-term upside. Short-term upside. I wouldn't want to see us below 58, especially on a close. But yeah, we'll keep it simple there. And yeah, market's still like that beach ball right now. And it's holding up well, but a lot of volatility events, a lot of stuff coming up down the pipe over the next 3 days and really the next week. So anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here again. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. You guys take care. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.